Herbs are not cheap, but if you're prioritizing a whole food diet made of fresh foods, they're a necessity. Here at Mother Earth News, we're looking back at Barbara Pleasant's kitchen herb garden plans and was published in the October-November 2006 issue of Mother Earth News magazine in the article, Use One of These 4 Simple Garden Designs to Grow the 12 Best Kitchen Herbs. I love revisiting articles from the archives because it reminds me that the simple, pragmatic solution might still be the best one. If you're planning an herb garden and you Google plans, it's easy to get lost in the choices you could make. But Barbara starts you off with the right priorities, and that is, first and foremost, put your garden close to your door. She recommends finding a 12-foot square area a few steps from your kitchen. The best kitchen herb garden is the one that has the herbs that you use and is somewhere where you can use it. If getting to your garden is so much trouble or takes so much time that you're just going to reach for the dried herbs anyway, it's not helping you. Find a place within 20 paces of your door that gets at least half a day of full sun. Garden herbs are grown primarily for their leaves, which means they're generally not as fussy as a plant grown for fruit or flowers. This gives you the freedom to place your garden where you can run out quickly in the rain for a handful of chives or dill or basil, or it lets you run out when you're already focused on something simmering on the stove so you can quickly get back to it. Here's a few different garden plans for spaces of different shapes and orientations for you to try out. You'll notice the plots for each herb are color-coded based on the best way to start those herbs. Orange is for plants that do best transplanted, blue is for seeds that should be direct sown only, and green is for plants that do well either way. This first design is for a long row, for a garden that's built perhaps along a path or sidewalk. Sprawling and quick-growing plants are placed in the front, and taller plants and perennial plants are placed toward the back. The mint is in a pot to keep it from spreading, and this is only necessary if you mind having mint in your lawn. This second plan is built in a cone shape with stepping stones in the middle. The same kind of design choices are made as in the last plan, except these sprawling, low-growing, and annual plants are placed around the stepping stones with the taller plants in the back. So this means the short plants are in the middle. This is also a great way to make your herb garden a design or landscaping feature instead of just a row garden. We also have this very compact rectangular plan, shaped more like a traditional garden plot. This garden plan is organized a little bit like a pyramid to ensure all the plants get sun. In this orientation, you'll notice that for the dill, which is traditionally a pretty tall plant, Barbara chooses a dwarf variety to keep it from overshadowing the sage. And of course, the sage is a perennial, which will come back every year, and the dill will need to be replanted, so it does great on the edge. Finally, we have this design, which is suited for a wall or box planter. You'll notice that it features trailing rosemary, which is a variety of rosemary that grows well over the edge of a high ledge or box. So even if rosemary typically grows very tall, this one is short because of its shape. This is also the only design featuring mint planted beside the rest of the herbs because the whole box is a planter. This leads to a few other design tips that you should keep in mind when designing your own kitchen garden herb plot. If you have to move around any of these plants to get them to fit your space, consider compact or container varieties of herbs to ensure all get the correct amount of sun. If you live in zones 6 and below, and you'd like to grow rosemary, grow it in a pot or in some spot where you can dig it up without stepping on other perennials. Rosemary can be fussy about overwintering, even when it's a hardy variety, and being protected in your garage or basement will probably keep it safer. In addition to height, color is another way you can add interest to an herb garden. Green leaf herbs are easy to recognize and sell at the grocery store, but that doesn't mean those are the varieties that you have to plant in your backyard. When you go to a nursery to select your herbs, consider variegated versions of your favorite thyme, sage, or mint. That is, leaves with white patterns on them. They're very pretty. Basil comes in varieties with deep purple leaves as well. Choose plants with differently shaped and sized leaves to plant beside one another for even more visual interest. So something tiny with tiny leaves, like thyme, or long and slim leaves like tarragon, beside something with round and full leaves like basil. Your favorite herb might come in a variation with unusual textures or forms, such as Bergarten sage, which has broad, velvety gray leaves and is a luminous presence in any herb garden. Finally, for those of you hoping to grow tarragon specifically, remember that French tarragon must be rooted for cuttings and cannot be grown from seed. Propagate it from a transplant or purchase it at a nursery. Any seed packet purporting to contain tarragon seeds probably has Russian tarragon in it, and it's not going to have the same flavor that you're expecting. What's your favorite garden herb? Share your favorite unusual kitchen garden choice below in the comments, and until next time, don't forget to love your mother. These kitchen herb garden plans were originally written by Barbara Pleasant and was published in the October-November 2006 issue of Mother Earth News magazine in the article, Use One of These 4 Simple Garden Designs to Grow the 12 Best Kitchen Herbs. Contributing editor Barbara Pleasant, the writer of this piece, would like you to know that she has smothered the steps leading to her deck with kitchen herbs, and she hopes that you do the same.